Hey, it's Frank's with Frank's DIY and Homeowner Help, and look at what I found. This was in a huge pile of scrap metal that was going to the dump. And I asked the owner if I could check it out and take it. And I think this is a pretty good find. I looked inside and I thought the inside of this box was wood and it was all rotten out, but it's not. It's steel. And there's not a spot of rust, not rusting out anyway, in this box at all. I also found these ratchet sets, which are seized. They're those tire ratchets, So I'm going to try and unseize those and maybe use those to secure the ATV. But right now I'm focusing on this. Now, it just looks like, it might need some new tires. And if it just needs a couple new tires, then for 40 bucks I got a new dump trailer. And it is a dump trailer too, look. Just get down here and pull this handle and voila. It dumps. And there's no reason why it shouldn't work. That's a little rusty, but other than that. So first thing I'm going to try and do is I'm going to put some air in these tires. They take 60 pounds max load, so I'll fill them up to their max load. Although if I actually end up using this thing, I would just fill them up to around 40 or 50, so that because the tires would be the only place where you get a bit of shock absorption. It'd be a pretty bumpy ride. But if these beads hold, then I'll probably end up removing the tires, lubing them up, greasing up the axle. And there's not much more that needs doing on this thing to get this thing to work. Let's see, check it out. Okay, let's see what this that locks in. The back, it's missing one of these spring levers, I guess. But you see the back? Pretty functional too. So I think a bit of lube and a bit of care, and I just got myself a brand new dump trailer. So let's see if it works. Welcome to Frank's DIY and Homeowner Help. Oh, son of a... Okay, so I got the first tire pumped up, no problem. It seems to be holding its air quite nicely. The second tire, though, I ended up removing. And the reason why is if you have a look at it over here, the tire's off its bead. See, so the bead is not lining up with the edge of the rim here. And mostly it looks like the reason why is that the tire's just deformed over here where something was sitting on it the whole time it was in the junk pile. See how it's just, if you look at it this way, you can just see there's a bit of a dent there, and that brings it off of the bead, off of the edge of the rim. So what I'm going to try and do is I'm just going to make sure that the rim is clean all the way around. This side is on, so this side shouldn't be a problem. It's just that one spot over there on this side where it's off the bead and air is just pushing out of it. So what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and put a strap around this, a ratchet strap, and try and push down on the outside of the tire to try and expand the sidewall out, and then pump some air in it and see if that can work to get that tire seated up properly. Okay, so let's see, figure out how to do this. Never done this before, but I've seen it done before. It's a solid enough theory. There's just this one area here where the bead is off, and that's our problem. So I'm going to put the ratchet right here so that it'll apply the maximum force downward right there and see how it works. Now, of course, the strap that I felt is the best for this happens to be like 10 feet long, so it's going to be a bit of a trick setting it up, but if I just take my time, I'll get it where I want it to go eventually. Okay, here we are. Just trying to get it right on the center of the tire. Of course, I don't want any twists in it. See how that's coming up. Just tighten it up a little bit and making sure it's right on the center of tire. Let's see. Okay, that's looking pretty decent. You see it there? Okay, so that has definitely moved the bead. Take a look at it now. See, it almost looks like it's in just about the right position. Now I'm going to try and give it a quick shot of air and see if it pushes it out. See how the tire's still kind of warped here, eh? It's not holding a good shape, and that might be a problem, but hopefully if the air pressure goes in, the tire will remember its original shape and seal up. Let's see. Okay, that's definitely holding air. Okay, it's holding air and it's firm, and I just don't want to fill it too much because then it's going to be a lot of pressure on the strap coming off, and the strap might just want to whip right off. So it looks like the bead is seated properly. I'm just going to give it a couple more shots and then release the strap and see what happens. Alright, I'm going to release the strap with sort of the anticipation that it might go flying. So I'm going to keep my face away from it. Okay, with that, now let's see if I can continue to put air in it. So far it looks like it's holding. I'll just spray some air in it, let it go for a while, and then come back and see if it's holding pressure. So I put 50 psi in it. The tire is rated for 60 max. I certainly don't hear any air coming out of it. And the part that was deformed right here is now shaped really nicely. See that? Whoa! Oh, it's a mousetrap. It's a long story. Never mind. So it's looking really good. And what I can do is if I do feel that it's leaking, you can always just spray some soapy water on here and see if it's leaking, but you know, I'm pretty confident that this is going to hold. Okay, so just keep an eye on the washers that come out of here to make sure you know which ones go where. There's one, and there's another one on this side. And then there's one on the inside too. There's a whole hub there that the other side doesn't have. So just make sure they all come off right. A lot of grease on this, which is great. Yeah, see how there's another washer there? Just make sure they both go back in order. So I'll clean it up, grease it up, and this thing's ready to go. Taking a closer look at these washers and stuff that came off, there was a lot of grease on them, but there was also a lot of dirt crudded on there. You see that? So I'm just going to give them a clean with some carb cleaner. Make sure they're all nice and clean before I grease them up and put them back in. Yeah, that's going to do one. That should get them right off. Look at the difference, it's like new. Check that out. That's how it should be going back in. You can see the crud right on there. Crud be gone. Much better, look at that. Like new. So this is the stuff I like to use for grease. It's this white grease stuff. Simply because it's really good in cold temperatures. It works adequately in warm temperatures as well. So I'll spray some on in the spots that we need spray grease with this and then rub it on with the solid stuff. Love that. Nothing like the sound of opening up a fresh can of tennis balls. Just put it on good and liberally. You cannot put too much on. And there was a good amount on here, so that definitely wasn't an issue. I think the biggest issue is this is probably the one tire became unseated or unbeaded. And it was never fixed for whatever reason. And then it sat there in a pile, so they just kept piling stuff on it. And it basically became unserviceable. But it's serviceable now. Tires have not lost any air pressure at all. Which is a really good sign. Last one, and then a cotter pin, and this wheel is done. Same on the other side, and the wheels are working. Wheels on the trailer go round and round. So now we put the cotter pins through. Come on, baby. Oh yeah. And give them a little bendy. Maybe could have gotten shorter cotter pins for this. Okay, that'll work. Okay, so the tires are holding air just fine. I've re-greased the axle and reinstalled the tires. As you can see, they're working great. I've lubed up the lever, the dump lever here. Works just fine. Let me show you how that works. Just kind of pull the lever, up goes the dump. See that? And now all I'm going to do is just spend a bit of time on cosmetic stuff, like trying to straighten out these dents here. But that's meaningless. That's just cosmetic. I will lube up this attachment point here as well, whatever this is called, just to make it a little smoother, but it works just great. So then if I had the time, if I had the weather, I would probably give this thing a good pressure wash. But I mean, if you don't mind cosmetics, this is a fantastic find. This was going to be in the dump a couple of hours from the time that I grabbed it, and now it's going to be my full-time trailer for my ATV, and I got lots of work for it, believe me. So let's see if we can straighten out those dents a little bit. Okay, so it's done. So for the cost of a $5 pin, $2 worth of cotter pins, a bit of lube, and a bit of air in the tires and some grease, you're looking at a less than $10 trailer for my SUV, which I will put to good use. This won't be a toy, this will be a work tool. And it's not like you're going to do breakneck speeds with it. I've got a 150-year-old pine that just got cut down on my property last week, and that's thousands and thousands of pounds worth of pieces of pine to move from one spot to the other. And now I got the machine to do it. So thanks for joining me. Hope you learned something. And yeah, one man's garbage is another man's trailer, dump trailer. Thanks for joining me.